Hey, how's everybody doing today? So I'm going to put together this little recording of some documents that I had written and sent out regarding this fraud that has taken place amongst these so-called public servants. So anyways, without further ado, this, as you can see there, down towards the middle, like 2/3 down on the page, notice from beneficiary. And at the top, it's myself, Brandon Scott, family Killerin. I'm the beneficiary, 469 White Oak Avenue, Zanesville, Ohio, 43701. In the matters of Brandon Scott from the family Killerin, beneficiary, and his estate. 2 respondents and witnesses in reference to case number CR 2021-0340 and all associated cases and matters. Kelly J. Cottrell, Michael T. Hughes, Muskingum County Common Pleas Court, 401 Main Street, 2nd floor, Zanesville, Ohio, 43701. And I'm going to put the certified mail number on there. Notice from beneficiary. Dear respondents and witnesses, for the record, I am here by special appearance, sui juris, and in propria persona, as the non-combative, non-adversarial claimant in living flesh and blood, writing this notice. In addition, I am the authorized administrator and executor of the Seskay Trust created under the all-capital letter name Brandon Scott Killerin, of which I, Brandon -S period, Scott abbreviated, family Killerin, the beneficiary, am the beneficiary. The respondents, specifically Kelly J. Cottrell and Michael T. Hughes, are the trustees in this matter and all associated cases and matters, and I do not consent to be in surety for these proceedings. Any prior acceptance of surety was forced under duress and against my will for my own protection. I was forced through pain, sleep deprivation, and torture to comply with the trustees in this abusive process, malicious prosecution, and trust fraud action. Further, I demand that the bond be immediately brought forward so I can see whom will indemnify me for the damages caused to me and my estate. I attempted multiple times to explain this to all of the trustees, however, none would listen to me, the beneficiary. As I overstand the process, all parties involved, respondents, conspired together and leveled criminal charges against the trust, Brandon Scott Killerin, of which I am the beneficiary. The clerks, the clerks, whom are administrators of the SKV Trust, then appointed magistrates as the trustees for the trust. And since none of you, respondents, can be the beneficiary, that leaves me, and therefore you all are the trustees that have abused me, the beneficiary, which is in violation of law and a breach of trust and contract, willfully performed and perpetrated against the trust. After all, if there were any bills owed, the trustees should have paid them with any additional taxes and fees, because that is the trustee's responsibility and not the beneficiary's, period. So, as my trustees, I instruct you to discharge this entire matter with prejudice and award the penalties outlined in the notice of claim and fee and fine schedule filed into the reference case number. And for these crimes, the damages are to be paid to me in compensation and damages for my false arrest, for 56 days, and the other 29 violations outlined in the notice of claim and fee and fine schedule. Note, trust law dictates that the administrator, trustee, and beneficiary cannot serve two positions in a trust, so the trustee cannot be the beneficiary, and the trustee is the surety. Title 31 U.S. Code 1321, 1322. I, the beneficiary, require that all rights be restored that were unlawfully taken immediately, and lift any and all commercial sanctions, such as the ability to purchase or possess firearms, or in quotations, guns, and order that my property that was stolen be returned to me post haste. The property known as an XD-45 handgun and ammo that was taken from me unlawfully in June 2021 by persons acting on behalf of the Zanesville Police Department. Those actions are multiple violations of the Second Amendment to the Constitution for the United States of America and other laws, including Title 42 U.S.C. 1983 and oaths of office, if they even have them. Does anyone else claim to be the beneficiary of this trust besides me? Should anyone want to make that claim, claimant would have only 3 days from receipt of this mailing to rebut this contract in affidavit form, affirming their positions. Failure to respond or rebut this contract will classify each party involved, the respondents, as defaulted status and tacit agreement to the terms. To the terms outlined herein and in the notice of claim and fee and fine schedule filed with the courts, and agree to the final mailing, which will be sent directly after each party or respondent is classified as defaulted. Acquiescence by silence is tacit agreement and consent to the terms. After final mailing receipt has been obtained, the claims will be monetized and forwarded for collections. Please forward all profits, interest, and property to Brandon Scott from the family Killerin, the beneficiary, at 469 White Oak Avenue, Zanesville, Ohio 43701. Nunc pro tunc ab initio. All rights reserved with prejudice. And you can see there it's been notarized. Next up. Looks like that's all in there. Okay. This one is titled Beneficiary's Declaration of Fraud. At the top here, Brandon Scott from the family Killerin, beneficiary, 469 White Oak Avenue, Zanesville, Ohio 43701. Dated May 29th, 2022, in the matter of Brandon Scott from the family Killerin, beneficiary, and his estate. 2 respondents, Kelly J. Cottrell, Michael T. Hughes, Muskingum County Common Pleas Court, 401 Main Street, 2nd floor, Zanesville, Ohio 43701. In regards to CR 2021-0340 and all affiliated matters. Beneficiary's Declaration of Fraud. Dear respondents, I, Brandon Scott from the family Killerin, the beneficiary of the SKV Trust, that is held by the U.S. Treasury and identified by the Social Security number, do hereby declare that the entire case and charges brought against me, or technically the trust, was fraudulent on its face. The witnesses testified that they did not know that they had a duty to act according to Ohio Revised Codes, and no one was harmed, hurt, or injured, nor did I actually prevent anyone from doing their business. during my cross-examination. The exculpatory evidence was ignored by the prosecution, Michael T. Hughes, and the jury. Therefore, I declare that the outcome of the proceedings were not based in truth, but rather fraud. I demand that the record be corrected to reflect the truth, that all sanctions, commercial and other, be immediately rescinded, and my property be returned by this court to, and my property be ordered by this court to be returned to me at the property located at 469 White Oak Avenue, Zanesville, Ohio. The property is a firearm known as an XD-45 handgun and ammunition, approximately 6 rounds, and a magazine. If the court fails to act to order the return of the property that was stolen within 72 hours from receipt of this document, then this document will constitute as the order, with the certified mailing number being the contract number and the return receipt signature from the mailing being the acceptance of the terms. I will add as a suggestion that you all govern yourselves accordingly. Also, if this court fails to act or respond within the 72-hour grace period, then this will constitute as acceptance of the terms and the liability of damages caused by this matter and the actions of all persons involved. The damages are outlined in the documents filed into this case as a warning, title Notice of Claim and Declaration of Fee and Fine Schedule. I, Brandon Scott from the Family Killer and beneficiary, make this declaration with prejudice. All rights reserved. Signed and notarized. Now, I sent these out on June 6th, 2022. Return receipt. And I got the return cards back. So it was received by each of the two respondents, and I also sent one to the court. Now, as of right now, the court has not filed the document into the record, and they have effectively stolen my stamps. I sent a whole book of stamps for them to send me a stamped copy back, and they have not done that yet, so I need to get a hold of them. However, you can see here, I don't know if you can read that, the date there where it's stamped by the post office. So now we have a legally binding contract. And from this point, now I'm going to be preparing the final mailing. As I mentioned in the documents there's a final mailing that I'll be sending out here shortly. That will be the further notice of claims sent out to all the parties involved so far that I've identified that had a part in the damages and the torture, for lack of better terms. I'm not quite sure how else to characterize what they did to me. But I've identified these people, and I have written notice of claims against these individuals for acting outside the bounds of their duties and obligations and oaths and so on and so forth. So stay tuned. I will have that coming up in the next probably week or two, as soon as I'm able to get all those copies notarized and copied and so forth and sent out. So once they're received by the respondents, I will put them up here and make them public notice. I don't like to do it before they receive it, just to give them ample opportunity and an actual proper due process as much as I can. Because honestly, they should know that they committed fraud. And if they don't, shame on them. Because stupidity and ignorance is no excuse. So, hey, bless you all. Have a great day. You all stay positive and keep your heads up and know the truth and let the truth set you free.